I now have the pleasure of introducing Anna Steffeney. Anna is a passionate entrepreneur who's focused on improving the experience and lives for working families. After the birth of her two children, one born in Europe, the second born in the United States, the glaring difference in parental leave policies prompted Anna to launch LeaveLogic. LeaveLogic is a Seattle-based technology company that delivers a parental leave management platform to Fortune 1000 companies. Anna is recognized as a thought leader in parental leave policies, has been profiled by television and print media, and served as a reviewer for the Wharton School's Stuart D. Friedman's book, Baby Bust: New Choices for Men and Women in Work and Family. Recently, she attended the White House Summit on Working Families, representing one of the few companies addressing parental leave from a technology perspective. In addition, Anna is a wife and mother of two active boys. She speaks 4 languages. She once drove from Seattle to Miami in an RV with a 9-month-old, bless you. And her guilty pleasures are watching Grey's Anatomy or The Voice. Please join me in welcoming Anna Steffeney.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I think I'm going to be the applied science tonight. A lot of what you're going to see is my own experience with the Motherhood Penalty. And before we begin, I'd like to thank the Women's Funding Alliance and Town Hall for hosting this event. It's a very important topic. As we just saw with Shelley's presentation, this is a very real thing. And I'm more than thrilled to be here talking about ways that we can possibly innovate out of the Motherhood Penalty. So on that note, let's begin. As MJ said, I had my first son while living abroad in Germany, and he's here with me tonight. So this is a very special thing for me, and my mother's here as well. So thank you, Gabriel, for coming. So he's 6 now. He doesn't look like that anymore, but Germany not only has good beer, but it has good maternity leave. When I was newly pregnant, I went to my boss and said, what are my options? He said, this is fantastic news. Let's find out who we're going to apprentice into your role, because it was expected I would take at least a year of leave, even though I was entitled up to 3 years of job-protected leave. And during, I know, right? Oh, this is fast-forwarding, sorry. And during that year, I was able to go on my journey of motherhood and not have to make those daily choices between what do I prioritize today, my baby or my career. I never divorced myself from my previous identity of being a very career-focused woman. And then we fast forward and we move back to the US. I'm getting ready to have my second son, and I quickly realized the conversation is framed more around career versus family, and that there still exists many taboos in the workplace. And the first thing I experienced was my colleagues telling me to keep it hidden as long as possible. I was, what do you call her? Donna. I was Donna, saying, what? I don't understand what's happening, I apologize. But just bear with me here for a second. When I was speaking with my colleagues, I didn't quite understand, because I'd lived in Germany for 8 years, and I didn't know what it was. And apparently it was the baby. I was supposed to keep the baby hidden as long as possible, and the way to do that was to tuck in my shirt, right? Or get the hoop dress. And yet I found out that most newly pregnant women don't feel comfortable going to HR or their managers to understand their leave options. And I truly believe this is one of the most vulnerable times in a woman's career where she's the least supported. And let's see what this means for women in the rest of the world. We call this the developed world. I call it the blue world, right? So the blue world has a mandated paid leave law on the books. And those countries in black, that's Papua New Guinea, Suriname, Liberia, and the United States, do not. Now granted, a lot of the countries in blue don't offer the same economic opportunities for women. However, I do see black as a place for opportunity, for us to innovate, to potentially do things different versus catch up to 1960s European policy. And what we do around this, is we tend to talk about innovation in terms of policy. And so let's pause for a moment and see what's happening in policies. The columns in orange are the number of municipal or state bills that are being introduced around sick and safe leave, family medical leave, paid family leave, pregnancy, and bonding leave. So I'd like to announce the good news is the policy direction is heading in the right direction more than last year. But I'd like to spend the rest of my time up here talking about other ways that we can possibly innovate. And I'd like to structure this around company policy, workplace, and return to work. So starting with company policy, I'd like to highlight Vodafone. They're an international telecommunications company with over 100,000 employees. They recently announced 2 months ago that they're having a global leave policy, giving new mothers 16 weeks of 100% paid leave. And yet, upon return, they can come back at a 30-hour work week and still receive their full salary for 6 months, globally. And I'm really excited about this innovation for 2 reasons. Number one, it raises the bar for other companies competing in that talent pool with Vodafone. And number 2, the way they went about making this decision, they hired KPMG to come in and analyze the cost to replace and retrain women who do not return after maternity leave. And those costs were estimated at $47 billion a year. So it was going to cost $28 billion to implement this global paid leave policy. But what does that mean? Still providing this leave is projected to save Vodafone $19 billion. Right? I'm very excited about this being the beginning of a business case to offer generous paid leave. Talking about business case, a few years back, Google noticed that their new moms had double the attrition rate than their other employees. And they increased their paid leave from 12 to 18 weeks. And after doing so, they saw that attrition rate drop by 50%. Again, saving Google the rehiring, retraining costs, not to mention the loss of experience and IP knowledge that goes with that. And speaking of loss of experience, we have a very innovative program coming out of PricewaterhouseCoopers called the Full Circle Program. And I really like this because an employee can leave the firm for up to 5 years. During that 5 years, they're assigned a mentor. They can attend the holiday party and company picnic. And at the end of the 5 years, there's a good faith contract that says, as long as you don't start a competing business or work for a competitor, we have a place for you when you return. And in the 3 years they've been running this program, 55 women have opted in versus out. And one of the first participants made partner recently. So this is a very good news story. Let's talk about local innovation. So our own Seattle Moz offers 4 months of 100% paid maternity and paternity leave. Their CEO, Sarah Bird, has a 3-year-old. This might be close and near and dear to her. But it's really creating this equal paid leave environment, which I think is one of the quickest ways to erode the motherhood penalty, is creating an environment where it happens to both employees, both men and women. And let's see what other tech companies are doing in the paid paternity leave space. How much time do they offer new dads? So Facebook, Instagram, and Reddit are leading the race here, but I think there's still a lot more we need to do. It's so interesting that the EEOC and the laws are very clear that if you offer a paid leave benefit to your female employees, you also need to offer it to your male employees. And so I'm hoping for the day when we start seeing a parallel track of dads advocating for their own paid leave rights. And this is what's happening in the at-home dad space. In 2012, 16% of dads were at home, compared to 1989, 10%. And this is going to get really interesting. In 2017, it's projected that 6 out of 10 households, the woman will be the predominant income earner. And so again, if we start creating very gender-specific paid leave policies, we're putting families at a very difficult economic decision point, right? The high-income earner is at a potential loss later down the road. So we've talked about company policy. Let's move into workplace innovation. And this typically tends to accommodate employees after they've had children. And for example, we have Eugene-based Palo Alto Software. They have a policy that allows employees to bring in their children and their babies. And their CEO, Sabrina Parsons, who's also the Mommy CEO blogger, thinks this is one of the main reasons they've been able to achieve a 33% female technical staff number compared to the low teens in the rest of the industry. Another good example is a recently launched co-working space called Next Space, and they also include Next Kids. And so it's a place for entrepreneurs to have on-site childcare. And I have a call with the founder, Dina Rothschild, next week, and I'm trying to convince her that Seattle should be the second location for something like this. And then, bear with me. This is such a compelling photograph. I want to see how many of you have actually used gravity when pumping at work, because it really does work. I can attest to that. But this is a fantastic photo out of the New Republic article about how companies are still penalizing women for having children. And I mean, look at these poor welcome back flowers are wilting. She's trying to squeeze in the pumping session. And, you know, I'm like, is that really a cube or is this an office? I can't quite figure out. But God bless. So we interviewed 20 employees across different large organizations. And the #1 spot we found that women pump in is the server room. And the reason for this, and we'll find out, one of the reasons is one of these companies, the Mother's Lounge was up on the 20th floor. It was a 10-minute walk to get there, a 10-minute walk back, 20 minutes to pump. Sorry, MJ. 20 minutes to pump and 3 times a day. So you're talking 2 hours out of your day. And if you could just go to that server room, which seems to be on every floor, just 2 doors down, you could save an hour out of your day. Another example is an employee who blocked out time in our Outlook calendar. Yet other colleagues were booking over it, so she typically ended up pumping on the way home from work in the car. Yes, there are car adapters, right? Right, we all know this, exactly. Well, some of us do, but to me, this is the future of our mother's rooms. This is a unnamed Seattle office of a Boston company. I got these from an insider, so I'm not going to disclose which company this is, but this is fantastic. Look, we have drawers with supplies. We have lockers to hold our equipment. We have sinks. We have outlets and a chair. And yes, those are cupcakes. I don't know if that's every day or just this very special day, but could you imagine? And now if I'm a worker here and I'm pumping, I feel valued. I feel like this is okay. I should be able to do this in the workplace, in the home, right? And this is also another interesting innovation. Recently, the Cincinnati Reds announced a brand new nursing suite within their recently renovated stadium. And it exploded on social media and online. And so we see now the NHL and the NFL running to get nursing suites in their stadiums. They partnered with Pampers. I mean, it's this great win-win, right, around this. And also, I think it came out that Ashton Kutcher, who's a new dad apparently, was at a Dodgers game, and I don't know if it was tweeting or Facebook, he posted how frustrated he was that the male restrooms in Dodger Stadium didn't have changing tables, and that got like 500,000 likes. Isn't that amazing? So we've talked about workplace innovation, and now we're going to talk about return to work programs. I really think this is a place that companies need to pay attention to. There's an entire workforce out there that has this small resume gap and is not receiving attention, but they're highly skilled, highly dynamic. I mean, in my opinion, this is one of our biggest human capital management problems. So these companies on the screen are actively targeting their alumni network, looking for employees who have left to care for family members. I think one of them actually calls it or has branded it the comeback kids. I'm not sure about that, but at least it shows that they're trying to leverage, in a great way, employees who have the industry knowledge and company culture knowledge. Now, these companies are taking it a step further by creating actual structured returnship programs. And you can see we have one of our neighbors, Zillow, on here. These programs are targeted at employees who've been out for more than 2 years. And they vary in how they structure. So the majority do something around like a 10-week paid internship with the option to hire at the end. Companies are still not sure, you know. You have the gap on the resume, let's make sure it works. But it's a great option. And then in the law field, there's the on-ramp fellowship program that offers a former lawyer, or I don't know, can you be former? I don't know. But a lawyer, a 1-year stipend of $125K combined with training and work. And then Zillow is doing a 3-month program focused on retraining developer resources who may need to catch up with new technology, et cetera. So these are great innovations that are happening. And so I would like to leave you with a quote from Emma Watson's recent He for She speech at the UN, where she says, if we continue on this current path, it's going to take roughly 75 years for us to receive the same pay for doing the same work as men. I'm not sure I can wait till I'm over 100, 110 to see change here. So I think now is the time to combine all of these innovation resources and science to really make true change. So thank you.